Every morning, millions of people crack a few eggs into a frying pan, convinced they are making one of the healthiest breakfast choices possible. In many respects, they are absolutely right. Eggs are among nature's most nutrient-dense foods, packed with complete protein, essential vitamins, healthy fats, and compounds that nourish the brain, muscles, eyes, and immune system. But there is one important truth that rarely gets discussed. Sometimes the greatest threat to a healthy breakfast isn't the eggs themselves, it's what shares the plate with them, that seemingly harmless slice of white toast, that large glass of orange juice, that crispy bacon served beside scrambled eggs every weekend. Individually, these foods may not appear alarming. Together, however, they can dramatically change how your body responds after breakfast, triggering sharp blood sugar spikes, increasing inflammation, encouraging overeating later in the day, and gradually reducing many of the metabolic advantages that eggs naturally provide. Nutrition experts have increasingly shifted their focus away from individual good or bad foods. Instead, they examine dietary patterns and food combinations. Modern research consistently shows that the health impact of a meal depends not only on what you eat, but also on how different foods interact inside the body. A nutrient-rich food can lose much of its benefit when paired with highly refined carbohydrates, sugary beverages, or heavily processed meats. Today, we're revealing 3 foods you should seriously reconsider eating alongside eggs. More importantly, we'll explain why these combinations affect your metabolism and introduce healthier alternatives that help maximize every nutritional benefit eggs have to offer. Be sure to stay until the end because the final pairing surprises many people. If you're over 50, avoiding this one habit could make a meaningful difference to your long-term cardiovascular and metabolic health. Before discussing those foods, let's first understand why eggs continue to earn their reputation as one of the world's most complete natural foods. A single egg provides all 9 essential amino acids required for muscle repair, tissue maintenance, hormone production, and countless biochemical reactions occurring throughout the body. Few natural foods deliver such high-quality protein in such a compact package. Eggs are also one of the richest dietary sources of choline, an essential nutrient that remains surprisingly underconsumed by many adults. Choline plays a critical role in producing acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter involved in memory, concentration, learning, and muscle control. Researchers continue investigating whether adequate choline intake may support cognitive function as people age, making eggs particularly valuable for older adults. Beyond protein and choline, eggs contain vitamin B12, selenium, riboflavin, vitamin D, iodine, and antioxidants known as lutein and zeaxanthin. These antioxidants accumulate in the retina, helping protect the eyes against oxidative stress and supporting long-term vision health. As age-related eye conditions become increasingly common, obtaining these nutrients through whole foods becomes even more important. Perhaps the greatest advantage of eggs is their remarkable ability to promote satiety. Their combination of protein and healthy fats slows digestion, helping people remain full for longer periods while reducing the temptation to snack on highly processed foods later in the morning. Modern nutritional science has also largely overturned decades of concern surrounding eggs and cholesterol. For most healthy individuals, moderate egg consumption does not significantly increase cardiovascular risk. Instead, experts now emphasize that the overall quality of the diet matters far more than focusing on one food in isolation. Which brings us to the real question. If eggs are one of the healthiest foods you can eat, what happens when the foods surrounding them quietly undermine nearly all of those benefits? That is exactly where our first breakfast mistake begins. The first breakfast mistake begins with one of the most familiar foods on the table. Bread. For millions of people, eggs simply don't feel complete without toast. Whether it's buttered white bread, a soft breakfast roll, a flaky pastry, or a bagel, refined carbohydrates have become almost inseparable from the traditional morning meal. The problem is that not all carbohydrates behave the same way. Once they enter your body. White bread and most commercially processed breakfast pastries are made from refined flour. During manufacturing, much of the bran and germ are removed, stripping away large amounts of fiber, vitamins, minerals, and beneficial plant compounds. What remains is primarily starch, which your digestive system converts into glucose remarkably quickly. Point this is where the metabolic problem begins. Point eggs themselves have almost no effect on blood sugar. Thanks to their high-quality protein and healthy fats, they digest slowly and provide a steady source of energy. But when paired with refined carbohydrates, the meal changes dramatically. Point, instead of experiencing stable energy throughout the morning, your blood sugar rises rapidly. In response, your pancreas releases a large amount of insulin to move that glucose into your body's cells. Point, initially, this feels good. You feel energized. Point, alert. Point, satisfied. Point, but the effect often doesn't last. As insulin continues working, blood sugar begins falling again. For many people, this decline occurs only 2 or 3 hours after breakfast, leaving them hungry long before lunchtime. That mid-morning craving often leads to another snack, frequently something sweet or highly processed, which starts the entire cycle again. Point, nutrition scientists often describe this pattern as the blood sugar roller coaster. Point, while one breakfast won't cause lasting harm, repeating this pattern every morning may gradually contribute to weight gain, insulin resistance, elevated triglycerides, and poorer blood sugar control over time. This becomes particularly important after the age of 50. Point, as people grow older, muscle mass naturally declines, metabolism slows, and insulin sensitivity often decreases. The body becomes less efficient at handling large glucose spikes than it was during younger adulthood. Point, that means breakfast choices begin carrying even greater metabolic consequences. Point, researchers have found that meals combining high-quality protein with fiber-rich carbohydrates produce far steadier blood sugar responses than meals dominated by refined starches. Fiber slows gastric emptying, delays glucose absorption, nourishes beneficial gut bacteria, and helps maintain satiety for much longer. Point, fortunately, avoiding this problem doesn't require eliminating carbohydrates altogether. Point, it simply means choosing better ones. Point, instead of white toast, consider true whole grain bread containing intact grains and several grams of fiber per serving. Steel-cut oats provide slow-digesting carbohydrates along with beta-glucan fiber that supports heart health and cholesterol management. Roasted sweet potatoes offer complex carbohydrates, potassium, vitamin A, and additional fiber that complements eggs remarkably well. Point, better still, replace part of the starch with vegetables. Point, spinach. Point, mushrooms. Point, bell peppers. Point, tomatoes. Point, broccoli. Point, asparagus. Point, these vegetables dramatically increase the nutritional density of breakfast while adding antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, and fiber with very few calories. Point, another excellent companion for eggs is avocado. Point, its monounsaturated fats complement the healthy fats already present in eggs, while helping extend feelings of fullness. Avocados also contribute fiber and potassium, making breakfast more balanced without producing rapid glucose spikes. Point, the lesson isn't that bread is inherently unhealthy. Point, the lesson is that the type of carbohydrate matters enormously. Eggs naturally provide protein, healthy fats, and exceptional nutritional value. Pairing them with refined flour weakens many of those advantages. Pairing them with fiber-rich whole foods allows their benefits to work exactly as nature intended. Point, and now we come to the second breakfast habit. Point, ironically, it's something many people have believed was healthy for decades: a large glass of fruit juice. When most people picture the perfect healthy breakfast, one image immediately comes to mind: 2 eggs, a slice of toast. Point, and a tall glass of fresh orange juice. Point, it looks colorful. Point, natural. Point, refreshing. Point, for decades, advertisements reinforced the idea that this combination represented the ideal way to begin the day, but modern nutrition science tells a more complicated story. Point, let's be absolutely clear from the beginning. Point, fruit is not the problem. Point, whole fruits remain among the healthiest foods you can eat. They provide vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, water, and perhaps most importantly, fiber. Point, the issue is what happens when fruit becomes juice. Point, the moment fruit is squeezed into a glass, something important disappears. Point, its fiber. Point, fiber is far more valuable than many people realize. It slows digestion, delays the absorption of sugar into the bloodstream, supports beneficial gut bacteria, and increases feelings of fullness after eating point without that fiber. The natural sugars contained in fruit enter your bloodstream much more rapidly. Point. Consider a simple example. Point. Most people feel satisfied after eating one. Orange. Point. Chewing takes time. The fiber fills the stomach. Point. The body gradually absorbs the fruit's natural sugars. Point. Now compare that with orange juice. Point. A single 12-ounce glass may contain the juice from 3 or even 4 oranges. Yet because nearly all the fiber has been removed, you can drink the entire glass in less than a minute. Point. Your body suddenly receives the sugar equivalent of several pieces of fruit, all at once even. Though those sugars are naturally occurring, your metabolism responds much like it would to many other sweet beverages. Point. Blood glucose rises quickly. Point. Insulin increases rapidly. Point. Calories are consumed without creating the same level of fullness that whole fruit naturally provides. Point. Eggs are exceptionally filling because of their protein and healthy fat content. Point. Unfortunately, pairing them with fruit juice may partially reduce that advantage. Point. Instead of allowing breakfast to keep you satisfied for several hours, the additional liquid sugars can increase total calorie intake without delivering proportional satiety. Point. Over weeks and months, this pattern may contribute to unwanted weight gain, elevated triglycerides, worsening insulin resistance, and greater difficulty maintaining healthy blood sugar levels. Point. For individuals already living with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes, these repeated glucose spikes become even more significant. Point. Recent metabolic research has shown that beverages containing rapidly absorbable sugars generally produce weaker satiety signals than solid foods containing the same amount of carbohydrates. Point. In simple terms, calories you drink often satisfy your appetite far less effectively than calories you chew. This helps explain why many people finish breakfast feeling hungry again surprisingly quickly, despite consuming what appears to be a substantial meal. The solution, however, is remarkably simple. Point. Instead of drinking fruit, eat it. Point. Choose a whole orange instead of orange juice. Point. Eat an apple. Point. Enjoy a handful of blueberries or strawberries. Point. Add raspberries to plain Greek yogurt. Point. These choices provide all the valuable vitamins and antioxidants found in fruit, while preserving the fiber that naturally regulates digestion and blood sugar. Point. As for beverages, there are several excellent alternatives. Point. Plain water remains one of the healthiest choices. Point. Sparkling water with fresh lemon offers flavor without added sugar. Point. Unsweetened green tea provides beneficial polyphenols that may support cardiovascular health. Point. Black coffee, consumed without excessive sugar or flavored syrups, has also been associated in numerous studies with potential metabolic and cognitive benefits when enjoyed in moderation. Point. The objective is not to eliminate enjoyment from breakfast. Point. It is to allow your body to benefit from food in its most natural form. Eggs already provide an outstanding nutritional foundation. Point. Whole fruits complement that foundation beautifully. Point. Fruit juice often does not. Now we arrive at the final breakfast pairing. Point. It has appeared on breakfast tables for generations, served in restaurants around the world and celebrated as a timeless classic. Point. But according to decades of nutritional research, it may also be the combination most experts now encourage people to reconsider. Point. Bacon. Point. Sausage. Point. And other processed meats. Few breakfast combinations have become as deeply rooted in food culture as bacon and eggs for generations. Restaurants have proudly served them together. Hotels feature them on breakfast buffets. Families have gathered around weekend tables where the smell of sizzling bacon signals comfort, tradition, and satisfaction. Point. So why have so many nutrition experts begun encouraging people to rethink this classic pairing? The answer is not the eggs. The concern lies almost entirely with the processed meat. Point. Foods such as bacon, breakfast sausage, ham, pepperoni, and many deli meats undergo processing methods designed to improve flavor, preserve color, extend shelf life, and prevent bacterial growth. These methods often involve large amounts of sodium, along with preservatives such as nitrates and nitrites. Point. Although these ingredients make processed meats convenient and flavorful, decades of nutritional research have consistently associated frequent consumption with increased risks of several chronic diseases, numerous large. Population studies have linked high intake of processed meat with a greater risk of colorectal cancer, cardiovascular disease, hypertension, and type 2 diabetes, while these studies cannot prove that processed meat alone causes these conditions. The consistency of the evidence across many countries has led health organizations to recommend limiting processed meat whenever possible. Another major concern is sodium. Many people underestimate just how much salt hides inside breakfast meats. Just a few slices of bacon or several breakfast sausages can provide a substantial portion of the recommended daily sodium limit before the day has even begun. For people with high blood pressure, kidney disease, heart failure, or fluid retention, this excess sodium can gradually contribute to elevated blood pressure and increased cardiovascular strain. Processed meats also tend to contain higher amounts of saturated fat than lean protein sources. While modern nutrition science no longer places all the blame on saturated fat alone, diets consistently high in saturated fat and ultra-processed foods often correlate with poorer overall dietary quality. Then comes another factor many people rarely consider. Cooking temperature. When bacon or sausage is cooked until heavily charred or blackened, extremely high temperatures can produce compounds known as heterocyclic amines, HCA, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAH. Scientists have studied these compounds extensively because prolonged exposure in laboratory settings has shown the potential to damage DNA and increase cancer risk, while enjoying an occasional serving of crispy bacon is unlikely to create immediate harm. Repeatedly consuming heavily charred processed meats over many years is generally not considered an ideal long-term habit. Fortunately, healthier alternatives are plentiful. Instead of making processed meat the centerpiece of breakfast, allow the eggs themselves to provide the primary source of protein. Add grilled chicken breast. Fresh turkey. LOW-sodium smoked salmon. Black beans. Lentils. Or even a serving of plain Greek yogurt alongside your meal. These choices provide high-quality protein with significantly less sodium and far fewer preservatives. Even better, surround your eggs with colorful vegetables. Spinach supplies iron, folate, and magnesium. Tomatoes contribute lycopene, an antioxidant associated with heart health. Bell peppers deliver abundant vitamin C. Mushrooms provide selenium, B vitamins, and naturally occurring compounds currently being studied for immune support. Adding herbs such as parsley, basil, or chives further increases flavor without adding sodium. Perhaps the greatest lesson modern nutrition has taught us is that healthy eating is rarely about eliminating one specific food forever. It is about frequency. An occasional breakfast with bacon is unlikely to determine your future health. But eating processed meat every single morning for years gradually shifts your overall dietary pattern in a direction associated with greater long-term risk. Small daily habits eventually become lifelong outcomes. Which brings us to the most important question of all: if these three breakfast companions are worth limiting, what foods actually help eggs deliver their greatest nutritional benefits? The answer is surprisingly simple, and it forms the foundation of one of the healthiest breakfasts you can build. Now that we've examined three breakfast habits worth limiting, let's shift the conversation towards something far more encouraging. Healthy eating isn't about living in fear of food. It isn't about memorizing endless lists of restrictions or feeling guilty every time you enjoy a favorite meal. Instead, it's about consistently building meals that allow your body to function at its best. And when it comes to eggs, there are countless foods that don't compete with their nutritional value. They amplify it. One of the best companions for eggs is leafy green vegetables. Spinach, kale, Swiss chard, and arugula are loaded with vitamins A, C, K, folate, magnesium, and plant compounds that help combat oxidative stress. These vegetables also provide dietary fiber, something eggs naturally contain very little of. Fiber plays a vital role in digestive health, supports beneficial gut bacteria, helps stabilize blood sugar after meals, and contributes to healthier cholesterol levels. Adding a handful of spinach Or kale to an omelet instantly transforms breakfast into a far more balanced meal. Tomatoes are another excellent choice. Rich in vitamin C and the antioxidant lycopene, tomatoes have been extensively studied for their potential role in supporting cardiovascular health. Cooking tomatoes lightly with eggs may even improve the availability of certain beneficial compounds, while creating a flavorful combination that requires very little added salt. Mushrooms deserve attention as well. They're naturally low in calories, yet provide important nutrients including selenium, B vitamins, copper, and potassium. Some varieties exposed to ultraviolet light also contain vitamin D, making them an excellent complement to the nutrients already present in eggs. Bell peppers add another nutritional advantage. Their bright colors reflect high concentrations of antioxidants and vitamin C, which supports immune function and collagen production, while helping protect cells from oxidative damage. Healthy fats also play an important role. Avocados pair beautifully with eggs because they provide monounsaturated fats that support heart health while increasing satiety. Combined with the protein in eggs, this mixture helps many people remain comfortably full for hours, reducing the temptation to reach for processed snacks before lunch. If you enjoy carbohydrates, choose them wisely. Steel-cut oats, true whole grain bread. Quinoa. Roasted sweet potatoes. These foods digest far more slowly than refined white bread, producing steadier blood sugar levels and providing valuable fiber that refined grains simply cannot match. Beans and lentils also make surprisingly excellent breakfast companions. Although many people associate them with lunch or dinner, they supply both plant protein and fiber, while helping create exceptionally satisfying meals. Perhaps the most important lesson is that breakfast should not revolve around one superfood. Health comes from the overall pattern. Protein. Fiber. Healthy fats. Colorful vegetables. Whole foods. Minimal processing. When these principles come together, eggs become the foundation of one of the most nutritionally complete breakfasts available. Over the past several decades, eggs have often been misunderstood. For years they were blamed almost entirely because of their cholesterol content. Today, a growing body of scientific evidence paints a much more balanced picture. For most healthy adults, moderate egg consumption can fit comfortably into a heart-healthy dietary pattern. The greater concern is rarely the egg itself. It's the refined bread. The sugary beverages. The processed meats. The highly processed foods that often surround it. Fortunately, changing those habits doesn't require a complete lifestyle overhaul. Replacing white toast with whole grains. Choosing whole fruit instead of fruit juice. Adding vegetables instead of bacon. Using avocado instead of processed spreads. Each decision may seem small on its own, but breakfast is one meal repeated thousands of times throughout a lifetime. Those small choices gradually influence body weight, blood sugar control, heart health, energy levels, and overall well-being far more than most people realize. Healthy living is rarely built through dramatic changes. It is built through consistent daily habits. 1. Balanced breakfast. 1. Thoughtful decision. 1. Healthier plate at a time. The next time you prepare eggs, don't ask whether the eggs are healthy. Ask whether everything surrounding them helps your body thrive or quietly works against it. Because sometimes the healthiest food on your plate isn't the one that needs changing. It's everything beside it.